Hey, these brothers. Man, I want to talk about how once you overcome your lust, but it's like you've obtained a superpower. It's like you've obtained a superpower, and it's not necessarily that you've obtained a superpower. It's more of you separated yourself from the way that most men think. You know what I'm saying? It's more of what I'm always talking about, a bandwidth issue. Like a lot of men have no idea how much bandwidth is tied up behind not controlling lust. I'm out here at the train night market in Bangkok, man. And I'm kind of I came over here a few weeks ago. I'm trying to see if this spot is open. I don't know if this is going to be a coffee shop or what this is going to be, but like some classic cars and all kind of stuff. And I couldn't tell what it was going to be last time, so I figured I'd come back and see if whatever it's going to be is open. I don't know what this is going to be, man. I don't know if it's going to be like a little social area or what it's going to be. I don't know. It still ain't open yet, whatever it's going to be. But anyway, I want to talk about overcoming lust, man, and how it's going to put you leap years ahead of everybody else. Leap years. Like once you overcome lust, right? And before I even get into it, let me tell you, like when I really first understood how powerful it was. And it was almost like the idea and the theory and the concept was always sleep in the back of my mind. Let me get past this music real quick, brothers. All right, I'm past this music, man. And I'll turn my camera around so y'all can see. But let me tell you how I kind of found out. It was always in theory in the back of my mind, but I can remember, I want to say about 5 years ago, I had this. It was one of my very first clients, my very first one-on-one clients, and I'm not going to say his name because I'm sure this brother still watches my content. Nor am I even going to say the city that he was in, right? But let me tell you about this conversation, man. So I'm talking to this brother, man, and this brother, the whole point of his conversation was, he was like, so, like, man, I can't tell why, I don't know why life won't just pan out for me. Like everything is just like going wrong. So we're sitting there talking for about, man, hour and a half, man, and he's just kind of telling me about life. The brother was like 6'3", chiseled, muscle, workout every day, very disciplined. And then we just start going through life. He's talking about how his money is funny. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about how at his job, his boss can't stand him. He's talking about how all the ladies, like none of the ladies are really feeling him. And just going, I mean, it was almost like outside of fitness, every single area in his life was trash. You know what I'm saying? And the whole time we're talking, man, I couldn't figure it out for nothing. I couldn't figure it out for nothing because I'm like, man, I can't, we're sitting there talking, and I'm digging in the last 5 minutes. The last 5 minutes of the call, the brother was like, yeah, man, and I gave him some positive feedback, and hey, brother, just try doing this, and some books and the whole shebang. I definitely gave him value, but the last 5 minutes of the call, maybe last 2 or 3 minutes of the call, the brother said, yeah, man, I gotta get over this hub addiction I have. And I was like you should have led with that. You know what I'm saying? Man, it's loud out here. Hope y'all can hear me. I was like, man, you should have led with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, because you don't understand, and I wasn't using the word then, but I was like, you don't understand that now we're talking about a bandwidth issue. We're talking about a frequency issue. We're talking about everything in your life being off center because of that. You know what I'm saying? So we were sitting there just talking about his hub addiction and all that kind of stuff, and the frequency of him just not being able to control his lust and everything else. And after that, we had about another conversation, about a 30-minute conversation. I said, brother, we got camera right. I said, brother, and my camera's doing its own thing, man. What's that, brother? I said, brother, this is exactly what you need to do. And I gave him the recipe. And all I really explained to him was how to transmute that energy. I explained to him, I said, man, I said, you gotta understand, man, when a man is like horny and all this kind of stuff, I said, that's creative energy. And if it's going toward the hub, if it's going toward a man taking matters in his own hands, then his life is going to be depleted in all other areas. So I said, brother, this is what you do. First off, eliminate the hub, and in all those areas we talked about, your job, women, and all the other areas, I said, you got to transmute that energy. I said, you got to transmute that energy toward those areas. And I broke it down how to do that. And I'm going to tell you what happened, man. Normally on one-on-ones, man, I'll follow up in like it depends on the conversation, the person, and the frequency we talk. I'll follow up in like a week. Sometimes I'll follow up in a month. This brother called me in 2 days. And said, so you not gonna believe what my life is doing. I said, break it down to me, brother. He said, man, this boss that I've been working for, he said he couldn't stand me for the last 2 or 3 years I've been there. Now he's acting as if I'm his favorite employee, and he's talking to me, and he's taking me to lunch and all kind of stuff. And then he's talking about the women in his life. He's like, bro, you know what? I've always had this issue where like women were just like repelled by me. And he said, it's this sister that I've been seeing at the gym. I've been looking at this sister at the gym for several months, and all of a sudden, yesterday, she came up to me, talking to me, want to go out and have, some food or whatever the situation was, and now she wants to hang with me. And he kind of just went down through there, man, and talked about a few different areas of life. And that's when I said, hey, you know what, man, this theory that's been in the back of my mind, I said, it's fact now. Like, it's concrete. Like that energy that I've been calling creative energy is actually creative energy. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. If a man can control that lust, brother, he and I hate to say it's like a superpower, because it's not a superpower. It's just that most men can't operate like that. You have an advantage over a man when you can move like that. You know what I'm saying? So now going to what that advantage looks like. Right? Let me turn my camera around, because I'm sure y'all don't want to sit there and look at my face as I talk. The first thing is, man, like kind of going back when I'm saying bandwidth, like you have no idea, right? You have no idea of how much of your mental clarity and how much of your creative, again, I'll use that word bandwidth, goes toward your lack of control in that area. And the only way I can really explain it is, like, if any of you have ever gone on a fast, right? Like a food fast where you were just drinking like maybe water and tea or something like that. Like, I remember when I first started fasting, I remember being aware. I remember being made aware that I had so much extra time and space and thinking capability, man. Like, for example, I can remember when I became aware, like, for example, when I first started fasting, I remember just getting up maybe 7 or 8 times a day, kind of just walking in the kitchen, open up the refrigerator, man, going in the cupboard looking for snacks, and I had no idea how much time, energy, and effort that I was putting toward eating. And once after a day or two of being made aware of that, I said, bro, I can do something else with that energy and time and effort instead of looking for food. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be, especially when I fast, I'm able to make 24 hour days seem like 48 hours because it's a lot of bandwidth that I'm now in control of. That's what it's like when you control your lust. You know what I'm saying? Because you have no idea, until you're aware of it, you have no idea, brothers, how much time you put into just taking 5 or 10 minutes or 20 minutes to scroll through your DM to see who your next person is going to be. You know what I'm saying? You have no idea how many texts you're responding to throughout the day of the sister that you want to link up with. You have no idea how many of these Instagram baddies you want to take a quick break and just, you know what I'm saying, like that lust part of you You have no idea that it consumes so much of you until you control it. Until you control it, man. So the first thing is it's a bandwidth issue. Hold on one second, bro. I'm looking for this one spot. All right, I found this spot I was looking for, man. So outside of it being a bandwidth issue and you having all this energy to pour toward something else, let me just pause right there for a second. Like, I'm gonna say this. A lot of us men, it's not that we don't understand the process of elevating. It's not that we don't understand the process of leveling up and quantum leap and all these words. A lot of it is we don't have the gas. And it's not that we really don't have the gas, it's just that we're misusing our energy and we're pouring a lot of it toward women and sex and everything else instead of pouring it toward our purpose. That's what I'm saying. Once you overcome that, once you get a hold on that and you can mitigate and manage that, brother, it's a ball game, right? So the next thing I want to talk about, man, on one thing you're going to see a major change is when it comes to women. When it comes to your interaction with women, it's a game changer. But first, this is the spot I was looking for, man. It's a cool little spot out here at the train market. Got these motorcycles in here, man, and a few old school, whatever. I love looking at bikes, man. I'm thinking about getting me another bike for my birthday next summer, man. So yeah, I've been looking at some lately over here in Thailand. Yeah, it's clean. But this is the thing, man. You're gonna understand. You're gonna quickly realize that once you manage that, I like these V-dubs too. Once you manage your lust, your relationship with women, your interactions with women is going to be completely different. It's going to be completely different, right? How's it going to be different, man? Break it down to me. What you talking about? First off, I'm gonna say this. Even if you've been a man that, you can say, hey, you know what? I've never been too good with the ladies. I've never been, I keep a girlfriend every once in a while. Or I go on a date, once or twice a year. But I've never been in a position, man, where women were just always after me. Once you control that lust, it's going to change that overnight, bro. It's going to change that I'm gonna go this way. It's going to change that overnight. Let me turn my camera around as I break this down. When I say it's going to change it overnight, you have to understand that when it comes to like what women are attracted to in a man, it goes so much deeper than what we normally talk about. Of course, us as men, we're always talking about, getting to the bag and getting to watch the car and all that stuff. And of course, that stuff is gonna play a part when it comes to, I'm gonna go down this way, bro. That stuff plays a part when it's quieter on this side. I'm trying to go over back to the lit side. That plays its part, but your frequency, right? And I said this word on my last video, your aura is gonna play a bigger part than what you think it is. So once you harness that, because you gotta understand this. I'm gonna say this. I need to look at y'all when I say this. When a person walks in a room, male, female, club, restaurant, barbershop, I don't care. When a person walks in a room, every single person in that room, the far majority of people in that room can pretty much read that person. Meaning you understand, you can feel if that person is confident, you can feel if that person is shy, you can feel if that person is an asshole, you can feel all that stuff. So you gotta understand, man, when you have this energy or this frequency of lust on you, let me see which way to go, brother. We'll go this way. When you have this frequency of lust on you, women can feel that. And I'm gonna tell you, that's one of the most unattractive things that a woman can feel, is that a man is walking around with his nose in the air, looking for something to entertain on that level. That's one of the most unattractive things that a woman can can see in a man. So you gotta understand when your frequency is on the other end of that. Look at the shoes I have, man. Man, he got so many clothes and shoes and food and everything else in her. Mom might grab me a bite while I'm out here. But you have to understand, if your frequency is on the opposite end of that lust, it's doing the exact opposite to a woman. So without you even saying something, women are being drawn to you. They're being drawn to you for no apparent reason. You know what I'm saying? They're more attractive to you because first off, you gotta understand this. Even when it comes down to you having conversations with the woman, even let's say you meet a woman, or if it's a woman you've been knowing, you gotta understand. Oh, I'm kind of twisted. You have to understand, man, that your conversation is going to be completely different. Because you gotta understand this, man. And I'm gonna tell you that. And y'all, I'm preaching to the choir at this point. But you have to understand. I might find me something to eat right quick too, bro. You have to understand that when most men, let me say it like that. You have to understand that when most men meet a woman for the first time, a lot of times they're jacking it up. It's not because that woman is not physically attracted. A lot of times hold up, am I twisting around? I think I meant to go I meant to go the other way. I'm toward the end. I'm all kind of twisting around. It's not that women aren't physically attracted and all that. A lot of times your lustful energy, the fact that she knows that, hey, you know what, if I want to right now, I can tell this man that, hey, meet me at the hotel or come back to the crib. Women don't like that, bro. Like I've been talking about the last couple of months, like you gotta understand, a woman wants that resistance to be there. If that resistance isn't there, she's not gonna be as attracted. I don't care what you're driving, how tall you are. Kind of like the brother I was talking about at the first of the video. This brother was like 6'3" and ripped. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, I don't understand why I can't get women. It's because his aura was jacked up. All he was thinking about was women. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta understand, not only does it change the frequency between you and women, it changes the dynamic of how a woman has to conduct herself. For example, once you entertain a woman, like a lot of times we make it super easy for women because all we're thinking about is, oh, she fine. Oh, I can't wait until XYZ. And she knows that. And a woman without substance, brother, that's walking in shallow water for her. Like you're not even really vetting a woman the way you should when you move in that energy. Let's take one of your restaurants out. You're not even vetting a woman properly when you're in that energy. Because you need to be, when I say that lustful energy gone, you need to be in such a state of, and I don't want to use the word being stoic, but you need to be in such a state of not leaning on that sexual energy that she has to bring something else to the forefront. She has to bring some other kind of conversation. She has to bring some other, depth of self to the conversation or to the relationship, or it won't work. You have to force that out of her. And when you're in this lustful energy, I'm telling you, man, that's when you'll get with these women that can just run through you and can run game and all this kind of stuff, because you won't see it. Because as long as she's stroking your ego and talking about sex, as long as she putting those sexy toes on you at night, as long as she kissing your neck, as long as she throwing that thing on you, brother, you're not going to be able to vet her in the proper way, man. You're not going to be able to vet her in the proper way, man. And at some point in time, well, I'll just say that it's just a matter of time, you know what I'm saying, before you look up and things are gone south, right? So again, man, it's just so just to end this video, because I'm gonna give me something to eat. Just to sum this video up, man. First off, you gotta understand the bandwidth. So if you're saying, hey, Soul, I've been watching your content. I done watched the Singular Truth. I done read the Singular Truth. I done watched the recipe. Like, I understand exactly what you're talking about. Soul, I've even seen you go from making your videos in your car to relocating to Dallas, to relocating to North Dallas, to quitting your job and to moving overseas. Like, I've seen you make leaps in life. So I understand the process. That's what you're saying. But you're saying for some reason my life won't turn that corner. My life won't make that leap like I want it to. And I'm telling you, man, for a lot of brothers, it's that sexual energy, man. It's that sexual energy. So the first thing is understand it's a matter of controlling your bandwidth, right? Understand it's a matter of controlling your bandwidth. The second thing was, what was the second thing? Let me think. Yeah, the second part, I forgot it. The second part was it's going to change. It's going to change your dynamic when it comes to women. Like if you're having, like, even the caliber of women you start entertaining, because you're gonna understand real quick that a lot, like if you're entertaining like shallow women, brother, they won't even be able to be in your presence, because when you meet a woman and that's all she has to offer, like that's 100% all she has to offer, brother, she won't even be able to stand in your presence. But for a few minutes. So first off, you're gonna start entertaining a different caliber of women, and then you're gonna have the ability, without even trying, to extract the best out of these women, man. To extract, if it's there, to extract, you know the deepest parts of her, man. So again, all I'm saying, man, is once you control that lust, it controls everything. It controls a huge part of your life.